I want to start with someone you are probably most likely to have heard of before today, and that is Stanislavski. Founder of method acting, he believed the key to character development was through empathy, and that by channeling our emotions from our past experiences, we could better empathize with what the character may be feeling in their current state. Stanislavski was born in the winter of 1963 to a wealthy family with a passion for the arts. He began acting at age 14, working at the family manufacturing company through his early 20s, later marrying teacher and fellow actor Maria Petronova Alexieva. And at age 22, he gave himself the nickname, or the stage name, of Stanislavski, the name of a fellow actor he'd once met. And while I wasn't able to find him online, I would be really interested in knowing who this man is that Stanislavski chose to take his name. That's really interesting. Stanislavski founded the Moscow Art Theater in 1897. His first play, The Seagull, was not only a great success, but also helped Anton Chekhov regain his footing as a writer, going on to produce plays like The Cherry Orchard, An Enemy of the People, and The Pretty Bourgeois. The Stanislavski method was revolutionary for the theater and for Hollywood. While it was most widely embraced by the arts communities in the mid to late 20th century, it is still the method of choice for many directors and teachers today. Its core of drawing from emotional memory makes it an effective tool in any language or narrative context. Next, we're going to talk about Bertolt Brecht. Now, unlike Stanislavski, Brecht wanted nothing more than to put the whole social and political system on blast in front of anybody and everybody. His approach to making the familiar strange was genius in alienating minute pieces of society and culture and then pulling back the curtain to reveal their unethical and dark motives. Brecht was a German playwright, poet, and theatrical reformer, noted specifically for coining the term epic theater. If you hadn't gathered, his methods are far from conventional, believing that, quote, art is not a mirror with which to reflect reality, but a hammer in which to shape it. A sort of philosophical realism for you. Born in the winter of 1898 in Augsburg, Germany, coming of age right around the First War and then watching the Nazis rise to power, it would be difficult not to develop polarizing political beliefs. Surprisingly, he studied medicine before making plays, and before long he went into exile and was removed from German theater, at least for the time being. Brecht's works were heavily influenced by Marxism. He developed his drama into an ideological forum for leftist causes and anti-Nazi sentiments, drawing from the avant-garde art style, putting strange twists on things we considered to be conventional or, norms. As you probably guessed, his polarizing political views did not open many doors for him in the States, so he returned to East Germany where he and his wife would establish the Berliner Ensemble, putting his methods into practice and touring his works in Paris and London, but not before his death in 1956. Alright, now, taking a much more minimalistic approach, we have Peter Brook. Now, Peter Brook's belief was that there was beauty in simplicity, and that only by shutting a moment down to its bare bones would we be able to see its core value, that by eliminating the scenery, the costumes, the music, we place human connection at the center of it all. Peter Brook is a noteworthy English producer and director whose unconventional approaches to the staging of classic plays have had a powerful impact on the avant-garde theater scene. The Threepenny Opera, produced in 1923, being his first and more noteworthy productions. Born in March 1925 in London, England, Brooks was exposed to theater from a very young age. His Russian-born parents embraced English art and culture, encouraging him to channel his talents into the arts. And by 20, he was staging Shakespeare with some of the most noteworthy actors of the decade. Brooks is known for looking for inspiration in other artworks. He frequents museums, once revolving a whole play around this one Watteau painting. In his pursuit for inspiration, he found himself asking why there wasn't another way to create theater. This prompted the release of his book, The Empty Space, in 1968. Now, as of 2019, Brooks was still working at the ripe old age of 94, with his newest work, Why, premiering in Paris, France in June 2019. This explored the purpose and practice of theater. Moise Kaufman's approach to directing and aesthetics are somewhat different from Brooks' in that he tries to establish a sort of series of aha moments, these flashes of clarity and character development prompted by fellow cast members. He welcomes assertive devised chaos as it breeds new and innovative ways to enhance the narrative. Kaufman is the working artistic director of the Tectonic Theater Company, a group focused on creating new works and exploring all areas and languages of theatricality, gravitating towards structurally difficult plays that require extensive collaborations in stagecraft. Born in Caracas, Venezuela in 1963, Kaufman grew up surrounded by the city's thriving performance scene. He attended school at home before being accepted into NYU's groundbreaking experimental theater wing, where he deepened his exploration of the role of the text in the creative process. One of his most notable productions is The Laramie Project. The play revolves around the locals' reaction to the murder of a gay university student in Laramie, Wyoming. Very much based on a true story, it is comprised of a collection of interviews of real people. There are nearly 100 speaking parts played by only 8 actors. When asked why he chose to cover this seemingly isolated occurrence, he responds by asking everyone in the crowd who's gay to raise their hands. He counts 12 hands, and then proceeds to explain that statistically, in a room full of 600 people, there were at least 50 people in the crowd who did not feel safe or comfortable enough to raise their hands.